Welcome back, Vol fans, to a dreary weekend in Big Orange Country. I don't know if it's cloudy around where you are, but in this neck of the woods, it's pretty cloudy. I'm telling you what, we'll try to find some silver linings, but they'll be few and far between on this
Yeah,
weekend. I promise you that.
yeah,
Bob, I know, don't matter you. I know I've said 100 times. It feels like this is a line of scrimmage league.
yeah. And we got whipped there. I mean, there was some reasons for it, but and some not. I mean, I honestly I would not have believed going in this game that we'd just have 83 yards rushing and 35 of those on the last drive of the game. That was probably the most thing that disappointed me, surprised me the most. But and then you throw in Schrader going for 205 rushing at 116. Good running back.
Good number,
Good running back.
leading the conference in
But
rushing.
he's not that good.
Not
I
that
mean, not as good as we made him look out yesterday.
No, yesterday he's probably National Player of the Year
Mm.
off that performance yesterday, and deservedly so. Gaseous in the running game, a couple of big catches. I had more yards catching yesterday than he had all year long, and he gave up 321 yards to one individual. I mean, how far he should have got tired and slowed down a little bit.
Right, right. Well, I have to give Missouri credit. They found a weak spot in Elijah Herring, and man, they exploited him all game long. Didn't really realize, nothing against him, but didn't realize how slow and unathletic he was until watching Missouri uh, expose him out in the open. Uh, they may have to look at somebody else at that spot, maybe Perry, uh, going forward. Because if I'm Georgia, I'm doing the exact same thing, and if I'm Vandy, I'm doing the exact same thing.
Well,
Uh,
Bob, I've not watched it on a rewatch yet. I was tied up doing something yesterday during the game, so I watched it last night. But I'm also curious. It seems to me over the last 3 or 4 games uh, that we're having a. He's been targeted a lot, and honestly, our linebacker disappeared other than him though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with that too. I don't know if it's just whether uh, the offense is just attacking that spot more, but I mean, you hardly ever hear Beasley anymore. I don't know if he's banged up or if he's just the offense is going after him and allowing Herring to run the show.
Yeah, I've not really stopped. I need to go back and watch a couple games. I'm assuming the blockers when they get out to the second level are targeting Beasley.
Yeah,
But that's just an assumption. I
yeah. It's
need
just
to go back and rewatch a couple of games.
that's what I would
But
do.
he's disappeared.
Yeah,
Um, and I wish Herring had kind of been someone you hadn't noticed yesterday too. We'd probably done a whole lot better. Um,
yeah,
it was a, I mean, but they had a good game plan for us.
hmm
They I don't know how many times that Cook kept the drive alive by rushing. I mean, he had 55 yards rushing. No, it's not a lot, but it seemed like every one of them yards were big yards.
yeah.
Were
It seemed like that was
drives.
first down.
Yeah, they kept drives alive. Got them out that from that 1 yard line was a killer. Um,
I mean, like you saying right there, Tim, they was 11 of 17 on third down, and a lot of those were, not a lot, but there were several that Cook made, convert those. And you know, when you have your top four tacklers or DBs,
that's a bad day.
you're losing the ball game. You know.
Yeah, it wasn't like there was like it was Leach at Mississippi State where
Yeah.
you're passing all the time.
hmm
He didn't have that many pass attempts. I think 24 for the game. He completed 75% of his passes, or if I recall. Very efficient. Um, but like I said, it was third down, after third down, after third down. 11 of 17, that's winning football. You won't see many times you lose.
Oh yeah, you convert that. That's key.
Um, you know, uh, let's quickly find, and there's more stuff to be upset with. And we'll go back to it for a second, but some bright spots. And they were actually a couple, three. I would have to say Jackson Ross, which is by what's the best way to put this? When you say your best player was your punter, most of the days
That's another bad sign.
that's another bad
sign.
sign.
Generally speaking,
Yeah.
yeah,
But he averaged about 44 yards a punt, and he had two inside the three that
yeah,
just tremendous punts.
Yeah.
So he'd probably get you game ball. See, Elijah Simmons seemed to show up, have a little fire, played with some intensity at times anyway. I can't say. Actually, two of the guys that I'll give credit to is on defensive line, which I don't know. It's kind of hard. Don't seem right to say that.
It really does, yeah. It don't seem right.
But
because Omar and Lot had 2 sacks, so but they can't have been playing too good,
Yeah, I think we lost gap integrity quite a bit last night. Just too many open lanes opened up. But and I'd say Cooper Mays, and once again, one of the other guys you talk about, we couldn't rush the ball hardly at all. But it seemed like Cooper played with some intensity last night.
I watched him. I mean, he was after it.
He was. I'd throw a couple maybe receivers in that group. Thornton finally showing a little bit, and I've not heard an update this morning, but it did not look good on that ankle last night.
It did.
It was an immediate
thing.
He
asked for medical. That's usually a bad sign.
But I think that's, maybe I'm missing a silver lining on all that, but it seems like that's probably about it.
Yeah, there really wasn't much.
3 turnovers last night really played a huge part in this game too.
Oh yeah, I mean, we was driving when Wright fumbled. I mean, if we score there, a field goal,
tied,
and we could have possibly scored a touchdown on that drive. That's a different game going into the second half if we have the lead versus being down 13-7, where they was able to go down the field and.
Well, one play, once again, Schrader, I think, with like a 43 or a 35-yard catch on a wheel route, I believe it was, that instantly flipped the field. And it was bad. And, look, I'm not going to allow us to go a 1 a.m. episode without at least mentioning the officials again.
Oh, yeah.
We're 10 games into this season. I've not seen a game yet where I'd say, hey, that was an even called game. And sure as hell I haven't seen one that says we got a good whistle.
Well, it's beyond, okay, it's a bad officiating, whatever. And let's just go out and say they're, for some reason, whatever it is, refs cheating us. They're pieces of crap, I'm just going to say that. Yeah, one reason why they was able to run the ball so well is because they was holding the whole game.
Yeah. And I know everybody go, oh, you can call holding on every play. Well, damn it, let's call it one.
Yeah, let's call it.
Which they finally did yesterday in the fourth quarter.
Out of hand.
When the game's out of hand.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, they had 2 live ball penalties. They both waited till both of the fourth quarter to throw them out there.
Yeah, I've seen that so much over the years. If you get really done wrong, if the yard penalties are way out of line, you'll always see ref.
Yeah, same thing in basketball.
Yeah,
you see it all the
time. Get your
time.
numbers up at the end of the game when the game's out of
line.
line.
And that's no conspiracy theory. You've not watched sports if you haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's happening.
But you're not going to get everything. But there was some pretty egregious bad calls or no calls.
Yeah.
And then the no calls is what kills you more than anything. If you make a penalty, you make a penalty. Yeah, it'd be nice if they called it both ways. So.
Well, it's just like with the Omar Norman Lott, the penalty he had. I knew as soon as the play happened and ref flag come out who it was going to be against. It didn't matter. To me, it was against the quarterback, Cook.
But he jumped up directly over Lott and started taunting him.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like Lott jumped up and just blasted him.
Right.
He was, hurrying to get back out on the field. Yeah.
Yeah. If anything, nothing should have probably been
no flag.
No flag. Yeah. But as soon as the flag come out, I knew who it was going to be against. That was obvious. Something else too is we're driving down late and get 2 fouled, 2 holding calls, and like that I have to go back and watch it again. But I did see it on Squirrel White and the Warren hold, which is what they call. I seen you see that all game long. You'll see him. He kind of grabbed him a little bit, and as soon as he grabbed him, he let go. Refs hardly ever call that. If you let go immediately, and Warren did, he let go immediately. They don't call it,
yeah,
unless there starts to be some actual tugging.
And then most of the time they don't call it anymore. They let so much go. I know, like you said, both those were minor, if at all. And then I can recall on the long play for Missouri in the first half where Cook rolls out to his right and throws open to that. Well, it wasn't just that. First he had the headlock. And when Pierce got away from that, the guy just reached out and grabbed his jersey. And I'm not talking about like this close. He's having to reach over here,
right,
just to get a hold of Pierce. And ref right there, and it's
that's right in front of the headrest.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, and listen, that's probably enough bitching about officiating in this episode. We'll talk about it again next week, I'm sure. Like I said, it's been 10 games.
Honestly, man, Heupel has. We say this too. Heupel has to go and raise hell. He has to. I mean, he's going to lose his team. The team, you can tell the team knows they're injured. I mean, there's points in the game where you're like, they seem to, quit trying. I've seen it 2 or 3 times this year, where they're not giving their effort, or they're trying to change the way they're playing because they know they're going to get held, and it's not going to get called. So Heupel has to raise Cain. It don't matter if it cost him $1 million. It'd be worth it to go out there and just say what he thinks. Him.
Well, Drinkowitz called him out last week. Didn't seem to hurt him. No money out of his pocket, and still yet got a good whistle. By the way, one more thing. They had 7 penalties last night, which was an unusual amount for somebody playing us here lately.
Yeah.
But 4 of those were in the same drive.
Yeah.
That, by the way, was extended when they caught a face mask on a Lawler.
Questionable.
Another
guy was being held to begin with.
Yeah, he was being held, and he did have his hands up in the face mask, but you can have your hands on a face mask. That's not a face mask. Right. There was no tugging, no grasping, and that's what the definition of the rule is.
Yeah.
But anyway, bitch fest over on that part.
Okay.
Enough other things to bitch about.
Right.
The biggest thing is we got Georgia coming this week. It's going to be, we got to get things turned around or it could get ugly.
Yeah. Only bright spot all this is maybe Georgia might come in overconfident.
I would be.
they might like, we just halfway show up. Like they've kind of played down their competition this year, some here and there. So
well, they have. So judging by this game, they'll have to play pretty low.
Yeah, that's our best chance at this point on that one. But who knows? That's why we play the game. We never saw this coming. This kind of performance coming. So that's why they play the game. So that's the reason why we'll play the Georgia game, and you just never know. It's at Tennessee, and they might accumulate all the bad calls against us and give us good calls in this game.
Well, if it's out of hand early, then it probably will be. But anyway, on that note, join us next week to see if I do dress. I've thought about dressing up as a Georgia fan and doing something that involves this right here. We'll see if that happens or not. Join us to see if we get kicked off YouTube for that. So at that point, people go Big Orange. Skies will brighten up, I promise.
Yeah. Basketball season. Remember that. Basketball's coming up. We're already looking great.
All right. Don't sound like a Kentucky fan, Bob. Quit that.
It did sound like a Kentucky fan, did it?
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Go Big Orange.
Go Big Orange. Go Vols.